I need to borrow your car right quick.
What kind of is that? Most people want to borrow sugar or even ketchup. You want to borrow my car? Hell no!
I need to borrow your car right away. What kind of thing is that? A lot of people want to borrow ketchup or sugar. Do you want to use my car? No way. You will be shocked by the secret that goes on behind the scenes of this movie. A 26-year-old rapper who had never written a script helped make one of the most famous comedies in American history 30 years ago. Made for only $3.5 million, was made in 20 days and was mostly taken on a real street in southern Los Angeles. On the screen, it looked easy. It wasn't. What really happened on set, who almost quit, and what things about Friday have fans never heard. Come with us as we talk about 15 strange things about Friday. Number 15, surprise motivation. In the days before there was a script deal or a single camera rolling on 126th Street, Ice Cube and DJ PUH talked about something that was really hurting them both. When movies were made about a black neighborhood in Los Angeles, the area always looked like a war. They are Boys in the Hood, Colors, Menace II, and Society. Music. These movies were grim and important, but they only showed one side of life in South Central. It wasn't the whole story. Ice Cube grew up in that area. He had sat on steps and watched people walk by, laughing at the unique people and situations that happen on every block in every city. He told reporters that they had fun in the hood and that they used to trip off the neighborhood. He also said that no one was making a movie about that part of the experience. The goal of Ice Cube and DJ Pooh was to make a movie that showed South Central as a real place where people lived and laughed. Boy, don't let me catch you. Don't go. Man, stop. They did this on purpose to counteract the violent portrayals of that world that had been common in Hollywood, and they based the characters and events on their own experiences. Craig being fired for supposedly stealing cardboard boxes from work is an important part of the story. The events that start the story are based on real events that happened to Ice Cube's cousin. The part of Smokey Oki as a small-time drug dealer who smokes his own product was based on DJ Pooh's own life. The neighbors, the fights, the money issues, and the unique rhythm of a single day on one block. It was all based on real events. The movie was also influenced by Kevin Smith's Clerks, a similarly low-budget comedy set in a single location about two friends who spend the day doing nothing in particular. When Ice Cube and DJ PUH pitched the idea to New Line Cinema, they used Clerks as an example of how to make a funny, relatable movie with almost no money. People used the house party movies, which New Line had also made, as an example of the tone. The studio saw what I saw and gave me the go-ahead. Friday was born from that unique mix of personal frustration and creative desire. It all started with someone being angry about how Hollywood was telling the story of a neighborhood, and the person who went on to give the most famous performance in the movie almost didn't appear in it at all. 14. The music with Chris Rock and Tommy Davidson was almost smoky. Before Chris Tucker even got the call, he had written the part, understood it, and wanted to play it. But then New Line Cinema stepped in and said that because they were funding the movie, the role of Smokey had to go to someone with more music experience and a bigger profile than DJ PUH. PUH wasn't a known actor. He was a music producer and rapper. New Line wanted a comedian with a well-known name in one of the two lead roles, and PUH wasn't that person. So, a search for a new actor began, and the names that came up before Chris Tucker's are really shocking. Smokey could have been played by Chris Rock. Tommy Davidson was also there when the talk happened. Ice Cube and DJ Pooh didn't choose either of them until they saw Chris Tucker on Def Comedy Jam and knew right away that he was a right pick. After that, the test did not go well. Tucker's first performance didn't go well. He came in and did the parts exactly as they were written. He hit his marks, said his lines, and did everything technically right, but he didn't make the room very excited. Kim Harden, the casting director, later said that Tucker just stuck to the script because he didn't know at the time that comics could improvise. I had a short conversation with you. What? Everything changed right away when someone in the room told him he could go off the page. Tucker talked to Angela Means, who plays Joanne in the movie, and asked her to put him in touch with her acting teacher. Means asked him to dinner instead of a formal meeting. Tucker had really worked on the role by the time the spaghetti was over. He was a completely different actor when he went back into the audition room. His natural energy, his desire to improvise, and the way he got along with Ice Cub's intentionally low-key Craig sealed the deal. DJ PUH agreed to play Red instead. This means that the person who was hit by Debo so hard that he flew through the air was the same person who had planned to smoke all the weed. Smokey's cast was almost entirely different, though, and the place where the movie was shot is something that most people who have seen it 100 times have never really thought about. 13. The whole movie was filmed on the street where the director grew up. Friday was mostly shot on 126th Street in South Central Los Angeles, between Normandy and Haldale Avenues. This is a street where director F. Gary Gray did grow up to be a kid. The set wasn't made to look like a South Central neighborhood. This place wasn't picked because it looked good in pictures or was easy for. The production. Gray was the perfect person to direct the movie because he had learned music, lived, and gained a deep knowledge of that world on that block. Gray's old friends and neighbors who lived on that street let a film crew stay on their block for 3 weeks in 1994 lived in the houses that were used in the movie. The scene where Debo punches Red so hard that Red flies through the air was shot right in front of the Gray family home, which was still there at the time. That's my gutter punk. Yelling, "You were hit." One of the most memorable physical comedy scenes in the movie happened right in front of the director's parents' house. Ice Cube wasn't using figurative language when he said that the movie showed what it was really like to spend a day in that neighborhood. It was the exact same neighborhood that was shown in the movie. Ice Cube was interested in Gray as a director because they both came from similar backgrounds. He told interviewers that he chose Gray because they grew up in similar neighborhoods, and Gray had a natural understanding of the material that someone from outside that situation could not have developed. Plus, if the setting was the director's real childhood, what he did while the cameras were rolling, snorts, tells us something about the low-budget film. Everyone contributes to the atmosphere that made the whole show what it was. Number 12. For years, no one knew that the director played a part in his own movie. F. Gary Gray wasn't just in charge of Friday. There was also an uncredited part he played in that movie that was so small and easy to miss that many people who have seen it more than once have never noticed him on screen. In one of the movie scenes, Gray is the man mopping the floor in the liquor shop as a store worker. It is clear that he is doing his job, and he is totally unremarkable on purpose. This was one of many cameos in the movie that brought in well-known people without taking away from the main story. The late comedian I. Wonder Page plays a Jehovah's Witness who knocks on the door and gets slammed shut by Craig. Page was best known for her part as Aunt Esther on Sanford and Sunday. It looks like rapper WC is one of the dry-B attackers working for Big Wom. These were the kinds of small roles that made the movie feel more like a real neighborhood full of known people than a movie full of obvious stars. The cameo tradition continued with DJ PUH's part as Red, who turned the movie's original Smokey into one of the characters who got hit the most. I got the money out of his pants by sneaking in through the back window. Man, I was about to get the money when little crackhead EL woke him up by running through the window. The audience saw the film's original co-writer take punishment every time Red got hit. Debo stole something from Red, or Red's bike and chain ended up somewhere other than with their owner. This was his way of getting even for wanting to play the lead role in the movie before the studio said no. But if the director's cameo was the easiest part of the movie to miss, the next fact is an appearance so short and uncredited to the actor's fame. Today makes his role in Friday seem like a whole different era of Hollywood history than it did in 1995. Number 11. Friday was Michael Clarke Duncan's first movie, and no one paid any attention. It was The Green Miles. In 1995, Michael Clarke Duncan was a big, mostly unknown guy who worked as a bodyguard for famous people like Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, and the infamous B.I. while working in commercials in small parts to get her start as an actress. He hadn't made a movie yet. He did not have a job. After the fact, he said that he was just a big guy trying to get in. Michael Clarke Duncan made his movie debut in theaters on Friday as a craps player in the scene where Debo talks to Red about his stolen bike. He wasn't given any credit for the part. In retrospect, he is big and easy to spot on the screen for a short time, but in 1995, no one had any reason to notice him in that role. People don't remember any of his lines. There was no name for him, snorts. In a scene that was really about something else, he was just a man playing craps. After 4 years, Duncan played John Coffey, the kind giant on death row, in The Green Mile. Duh. Okay, dude. Hey, kids, stop sending him that damn door. Oh no. Whose Story got him nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor and made him one of Hollywood's most familiar faces. The person who got that nod had played Craps in the background of a $3.5 million South Central comedy that was shot over the course of 20 days. One of the most interesting things about current American film is the distance between those 2 points in the same career. One of the film's most important uncredited roles went to a future Oscar nominee. The next fact is about a 2-second throwaway line that became one of the most used words in all of English-speaking internet. Number 10. Ice Cube almost cut the line by Felicia, which was just a filler. A lot of times, Ice Cube has said in public that the line by Felicia was just a throwaway line that he didn't give it much thought when writing the script, filming the scene, or editing the movie. It was a small dismissal of a minor character that didn't add anything to the story and didn't get much attention when the movie came out. Rolling Stone asked him in 2015 if he was okay with the by Felicia thing. He said yes, but told his son not to put it on his grave. In reaction to the character Felicia, the line was said, Angela Means played Felicia. She was the same person who held the dinner where Chris Tucker proved he could play the Smokey character well enough to get the part. The woman who helped Chris Tucker get the role that made him famous was also the subject of the short scene that became a meme, and is still around 20 years after Friday came out. By Felicia's cultural life sped up a lot when social media gave it a new home in the early 2000s. It quickly spread beyond people who had seen the original movie and into a general cultural language that doesn't have anything to do with Friday. A casual insult became a part of culture. The next fact is about the first picture people see in the movie, which was actually a tribute to a different movie that was carefully planned. 9. Ice Cub's outfit in the first scene was meant to look like it came from Boys in the Hood. People see Craig Jones getting out of bed in a certain outfit as the first thing they see when Friday starts. Shorts are cut off the knee, a black shirt, high white socks, and dark shoes. Music. Most people see this as Craig's pajamas and don't think anything else about it. Ice Cube meant for them to look at each other twice.